Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and I'm pretty sure from all the videos of Legion that I've been putting out, all the arenas, all the BGs, all the different testing, even for different classes, I'm pretty sure you can tell that I'm having a lot of fun PvPing in Legion. Even though it is the beta, everything is on the table to change, there's always buffs and nerfs, and the game is even buggy in some cases. But it is still so much fun, especially compared to Warlords of Draenor. While I wasn't one of the people who particularly hated Warlords of Draenor, I didn't say it was, the worst expansion I've ever played. It wasn't by far the greatest. It was okay. I guess I wasn't one of the people really complaining, but I wasn't one of the people praising it either. But Legion, I have to give it some credit. Legion is a lot of fun. I'm having a complete blast playing Legion every single second that I'm on there. And I feel like I narrowed it down to some of the things I really do enjoy out of Legion PvP. So I want to share with you guys in this video some of my points of why I like the Legion PvP, what are the aspects that I like, and let's get on to the video, and hopefully you guys will be able to share your aspects of what you're expecting out of Legion in terms of PvP, what you're looking forward to. So let's first start with the big one for me. So one of the things that happened in Legion is a lot of classes lost most of their defensives. And with the loss of defensives, there was a lot of issues in like some classes don't feel as tanky anymore. A lot of classes are more squishier now since they just simply don't have the capability to deal the damage that they're kind of looking for. But it's alright, because rogues, for example, lost wall, lost double vanish, double evasion because we lost prep. But all the classes lost defenses as well, and I think that's a good thing. With classes having less defenses, that means you gotta use them properly. You can't just waste them, you can't just blow them, you can't use them to just get out of CC like some mages would just ice block just to get out of a CC, just to see if they could score that kill, that cheeky little kill in there. Because I remember in Warlords of Draenor, having too many defenses was a bit obnoxious, especially in the 2v2 arenas. Not only was Healy DPS a really strong comp to begin with, but when me and Tigger are playing as a Comet Rogue Boomy, going against a Holy Paladin Frost Mage, even a 2k MMR, actually 2200, let's be honest, even a 2200 MMR, it's really obnoxious when you have a Mage who can just block twice, you have a Paladin who can bop twice, bubble, freedom, sacrifice, wings, execution sentence, not divine protection, it's the clear casting, I can't remember the name now. But that's just way too many cooldowns for a measly combat rogue and a boomkin to be able to take out those two monsters when they have so many reset capabilities. But in Legion, defensives are a lot more important. Wasting your defensives is very punishing for PvP because another player can take advantage of it. Let's say you just trinket as a feral, and it'll be a lot like a feral WOD. Once you trinket and you didn't pop wall, that's it. A rogue can just take you down, and if he has any assistance from it, like maybe a Death Knight hitting you as well, or a mage hitting you, you're done, you're dead, you're gone. And I think it's a good thing, because then it teaches players to be able to use their defensives wisely. And so you won't have like too many stacking defenses, so you can just simply just like AFK through a battle and then just drop an execute sentence and let it heal up your mage to full. I mean, that was a bit ridiculous. The second thing I like in Legion is most classes in Warlords of Draenor simply just play up to their mechanic. And let me explain, because this concept's a bit weird. In Warlords of Draenor, when you're PvPing, you're not really worrying about your opponent's rotation. You're not really worried about your opponents ever. You're not really looking at your opponent with any threat unless they have the burst available. The only thing you want to make sure in Warlords of Draenor is to stop the enemy burst. Like, let's say, for example, Windwalker and a Death Knight hop on your healer, you want to make sure to stop the Fist of Fury with a gouge. That is all you're looking for. But for the most part, you're just allowing the monk to go through a rotation. There's no issue with that. And that's just simply how most classes play in Warlords of Draenor. Everybody's just looking out for their own rotation. Everybody's just looking out for their own capabilities and their abilities, just to make sure they can build up their abilities, basically. But in Legion, it feels like to be able to disrupt a class from being able to do the basic rotation, like to stop a warlock from putting dots in the first place, like an Affliction Warlock, it is so rewarding. To be able to stop a monk from simply being able to get his Fist of Fury off and then get his Rising Sun Kick off at the same time, and to be able to get that finisher ability at the very end, to be able to stop that, it actually feels just very much rewarding. Especially as an Outlaw Rogue. As an Outlaw Rogue, you have a gouge, and then you're able to stop melee from being able to get their dots up, to get the basic damage and mechanics in there, to get the sustained damage in there, if you're able to gouge at a particular moment. And I just think it's kind of a cool mechanic. It's just a little fine detail within, let's say, arenas, especially for Legion, to be able to just stop main mechanic, to be able to stop main rotation, to be able to halt it for a moment, to be able to stop, let's say, an Affliction Warlock from spreading their basic dots. It stops Warlock from self-healing, it stops Warlock from building up damage over time, it stops Warlock from rotting your healers, it stops Warlock from being able to do really anything. So I think it's interesting to be able to have these finite details, just like this simple little details that you would normally not expect in a game. And in Legion, to be able to stop an opposing mechanic, just a simple mechanic, I feel like is just very interesting overall. It is definitely a nice change for the game, I feel like, and it makes it all about be able to watch out your enemies and control your enemies a little bit more important simply than to just reacting once they get burst available. And number third, lining up CC on a caster feels even more rewarding than it ever has been. Currently in Legion, and I remember in currently in Warlords of Draenor, I meant to say, and I remember in Pandaria, you would have to basically throw your healer in an hour-long CC just to be able to get any kind of pressure on the target, especially in Mr. Pandaria. I remember that being a pretty big issue from back in the day. Because I played Combat Rogue, Shadow Priest, Resto Shaman as a comp, and we basically had to CC, I had to CC the DPS and then CC the healer in order to be able to line up damage for my Shadow Priest. And I remember having to throw him into like an hour-long CC, just back-to-back stuns into a blind and then sap. It was kind of insane. But there was just a lot of CC in Warlords of Draenor, a lot of CC in Pandalands, and the games would end up going to dampening. And because you had to basically throw the CC to get the cooldowns, and then the game sometimes would go in dampening because the team comp's just really on top of their game, then you're having to rely on the dampening mechanic and then throw in CC while in dampening in order to make sure you can score a kill. In Legion, throwing down CC and getting a chain CC is very rewarding, which also comes back to stopping a class from their main mechanic, like stopping a mage from being able to polymorph your priest in the first place, or polymorph your monk. I feel like it's a good thing that being able to line up chain CC is rewarding, because then it basically forces DPS, forces the healer, forces everybody in the arena to be on their feet. It just feels like overall, even the damage is a lot pretty high in Legion as is. And if you're able to put somebody out of commission altogether, it kind of goes back to wasting your cooldown. So let's say you waste your trinket, now you're gonna set a CC chain, and it doesn't take a long CC chain in order to line up some actual sustainable burst. So I feel like overall it's just really good for the game for PvP, even though there has been a lot of dampening, a lot of pruning. I was gonna say dampening, a lot of pruning for Legion, and people were worried maybe the game is getting just easier. There is still complexities that you can't find for arenas. It is very easy for a bad player to get punished if they're not learning basic mechanics. So I think it's a good thing. On one hand, it's like, oh well, you know, the new player or the newbie player is just learning, but to be able to get punished on a mechanic, that means the person has to learn the mechanics. That means they have to improve, and if you don't improve, you're not going to do well. And that is one of the grimes that a lot of the higher rated players were having with the pruning in Legion. So I think it kind of like almost counteracts the whole prune by making all those crucial key mechanics, all those little fine little details way more important than they've been before. I think it's a good thing overall. And let's move on to the last, my most favorite part about Legion PvP. Now this last one is going to be icing on a cake, so let me just take you guys into a very familiar picture for anybody who's done any BGs, any PvP in Warlords of Draenor. This is going to be a very familiar picture to a lot of you. So imagine this. 3 melee. You can imagine yourself maybe like a warrior, maybe like a rogue, maybe even like a monk. Let's throw in a monk in there as well. So 3 DPS are sitting, maybe, no, replace the monk with a mage. Let's get some casters in there. 3 DPS are sitting on a bear druid. He's not actually a bear, he's Resto. He just got himself fully hotted up and he's sitting in bear for better Ysera. And no matter how much damage all those 3 DPS try to pull, the bear stays in bear. That's a pretty believable picture. That's a really believable picture if you played in Warlords of Draenor. Let's be honest. So, healers were pretty strong in Warlords of Draenor, and well, they currently are, because I'm making this video while Warlords of Draenor is still the thing, but not until Tuesday. Healers are really strong when it comes to PvP. They can outlast most DPS, and they can just simply sit through most of the offensive capabilities. So, I feel like having healers that strong, it simply just makes me feel like inadequate as a DPS. As a combat rogue, I can definitely burst down any healer, except for maybe like a monk if they're really high mobility, or a holy paladin once they have their cooldowns available, or if they Hajime and just run away. So, yeah, as certain classes, yes, you can definitely train down healers and you can burst them down, but usually you have to have cooldowns. You have to have some kind of mechanic. You have to have them. You have to have the healer mess up in one way or another, or simply just wait until you red buff killing spree, cloak any kind of CC they have, and killing spree onto them. Maybe even kick cast before it. But in Legion, healers are no longer the gods of PvP. No longer do they just sit there and just like AFK out, and then with a single regrowth, they can just top somebody to full health. And I think it's a great thing. For the longest time, healers have been able to catch up using cooldowns, using big healing cooldowns. But in Legion, it feels like healers no longer play the catch-up mechanic. Now you have to trade cooldown for cooldown. If the enemy is using Gargoyle and buffing their pet as a Holy Death Knight, as a Resto Druid, to be able to get through the damage, you have to pop Tree Form early and start healing as a Death Knight is hitting your target. You can't just like wait until your target is low, pop Tree Form, and then 2 regrowths and the guy is full health. So that I feel like is a great thing. So healers and DPS all have to trade cooldowns, a cooldown for cooldown. No longer does somebody have to just play catch up. So I think it's a great thing. I think it puts a bit more of a skill cap to the game overall, and again, it's one of those little fine details of Legion that'll probably make the game still fun for PvP, and with all the pruning that has happened in the game, it'll probably counteract most of the prune that has happened thus far. So I think this is it, guys. I think this is all I have for the PvP aspects that I really enjoy for Legion. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below about my thoughts on Legion PvP, and let me know what you like and what you don't like about Legion PvP. I think with us sharing things that we like, sharing things we don't like, can always improve the game before it is out in August. But once it's released, I think they still can adjust things while we are in the PTR. I'm pretty sure a lot more, or not in PTR, but in pre-patch. And I'm pretty sure Blizzard will be listening to as much of the player input ever since the great, I guess the, I don't know what to call it, the great mistake that is Warhordes, maybe? That might be a pretty fitting name. But thank you guys again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Comments below for everything you feel. And I'll see you guys in another video.